Well, 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 well. You bunch of gossip mongers. I know you're living for the drama. You know you're living for the drama. We all know that you're all living for the drama. Like, here's what I like about drama streams. You guys all deny it. You say, no, Carlin, no. Don't degrade yourself. Don't lower yourself to go into the drama. Don't do it. Focus on the highfalutin content. And then I do the highfalutin content, and you guys don't show up. But do you know where you show up? The drama streams. Listen, I know what you like, man. And if I have to do the drama streams to teach you guys about psychology and to teach you guys about mindfulness and to teach you guys sage life lessons that I think will benefit everyone, then I'll do it. I'll do it. I am not above using your favorite internet caricatures. And I did purposefully say caricatures there because I think that everyone involved in this unholy trinity love triangle are all caricatures of themselves at this point. I will absolutely use the unholy trinity of Tim and Adam and Lydia to get everyone in the door so I can teach you sage life lessons about psychology if I can even speak today, because apparently I can't for some reason. I don't know why I'm slurring my words exactly, but that's what it is. So, guys, I actually wasn't planning on doing another drama stream today. I had something way more highfalutin planned for today, and we'll talk about that in a second. But the thing of it is, on Mondays, I have a really, really effing busy schedule. And I decided to push the highfalutin stream till tomorrow because I'm going to have a little bit more time. There's going to be some more breathing room. And so I was sitting here, I was like, do I cancel the Monday stream? I have a locals or a community call at 7. Do I just cancel the stream and just have a couple extra hours of work before my community call starts at 7? I was like, no, I can't do that. I can't let you guys down because yesterday, Lydia responded. Lydia responded to all of the drama. And Lydia's response to the drama is, I'm going to be honest, I haven't actually read the whole thread. This will be the first time I read the whole thread, but I did read the first couple tweets and I was like, oh, Lydia. Oh, why would you do this, Lydia? This was a horrible decision. This decision by Lydia is probably even worse than the decision that Tim made the other day in terms of going live on his channel at 11 a.m. on a Saturday to respond to drama. This thread from Lydia is probably a worse decision. Mark Robichaud says, the wholesome threesome. No, we're calling them the unholy trinity. Adam, Tim, and Lydia are now the unholy trinity of drama that has taken over all of my content. And not all of my content. I do other content too. But we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But what I want to do on this here stream is I want to read the whole thing. And I really do try to be productive about this. I really, really do. Listen, man, if we're going to talk about drama, we're going to use the drama to learn lessons that we can all apply in our lives. So it's not just, gossip. We're going to try to be adults about this situation. We're going to try to use it for the greater good. Yeah, Lydia is big mad. I mean, and to be fair, if you had the fact that you fucked your boss being echoed all over the internet, and not only did you fuck your boss, but carried on an ongoing affair with your boss for God knows how long, and then got slapped down by the boss's girlfriend, and then still came in and bent down on your knees to rub the boss's feet, wouldn't you be a little pissed? I think I've never given someone a foot massage in my life, but if it was spread around the internet that I had given a foot massage to my boss who I had fucked while he was sitting next to his girlfriend, I may be just a little fired up, a little perturbed. I may have done some things in my life, but I haven't done that. Mark Robichaud, Tim said he didn't fire Adam. Lydia then said Adam was fired, so who's the liar? Tim is the liar. Tim absolutely fired Adam. Tim absolutely lied on the stream he did on Saturday. I made a whole clip for you guys. If you haven't caught the Tim is lying moments, I made a whole clip for you guys of my longer stream about Tim's response, but Tim absolutely lied. Adam is still the most clean in this entire thing. All right. But we're gonna talk about this, guys, and I'm gonna do a little recap for anyone that's just coming into the unholy trinity drama now. I'm gonna do a little recap before we go through Lydia's thread. So if you like a smart person had like, you know, a lot of people probably don't even know what's going on right now because a lot of people are like, it's Thanksgiving. I'm not going to be paying attention to the internet. And of course, it is Thanksgiving weekend where all of the unholy trinity explodes all over the internet. So there could be people waking up today being like, what the hell is going on? So we're going to do a little recap of where we are so far. We're going to analyze Lydia's Twitter thread and talk about the psychology of it. And that's really all I have planned for today's stream. Never date a coworker, never date your boss. I wouldn't really say that Lydia was dating him necessarily. Lydia was engaging in hanky panky with the boss, which is not. Don't ever do that. It was a bad idea. Oh my god. And guys, I got to tell you, I cannot wait to see the chat on Tim's show tonight. Adam's stream is going to be fire and then Tim's is going to be Of course, I am too highfalutin for all of this and so I don't appreciate the drama at all and I'm doing this because I know you guys want this. I'm doing it for you. I'm sacrificing myself on the altar of the unholy trinity. For all of you, and I hope you appreciate it. I hope you are. But guys, before we get into that, I just want to point out that if you are not a drama type of person, if you're just not that variety, I totally understand. I really do. And I just want to draw everyone's attention to the fact that I do content on this channel that has nothing to do with the unholy trinity all the time. So, if you find yourself clicking on this video and then saying Carlin, you have become a drama channel. I don't know what's happened to you. You've changed so much. If that's what's going through your head right now, what I want you to do is I want you to stop watching this live stream right now, and I want you to head over to my channel homepage where you're going to find some other great stuff. You're going to find Socialism Saturday, where we watched a video. Socialism Saturday was great this week, by the way. We do Socialism Saturdays on Saturdays at 6 p.m. where we watch literal socialists and we dissect what the literal socialists are saying and we talk about it. Socialism Saturday this week was called Trans Liberation in the Communist Horizon. It was dystopian as hell. Go give that a watch if you want to do that instead. I also had an amazing conversation last Friday with Jack Casey talking about flat earth. Now, I'm not a flat earther. I'm not at all. But this conversation was really, really interesting to me. He didn't convince me of anything, but he did make cases that I hadn't considered before. And just from a philosophical perspective, I thought that it was really, really, really fascinating. And that would be a great watch if you want something else. You could also go back and watch the Schools Exposed Part 1 of the Fairfax County, Virginia schools investigation stream. We will be picking up part 2 of Fairfax County investigation tomorrow at 5 p.m. That's the stream I was going to do today. We're pushing it tomorrow. Schools investigation streams are where I literally investigate a school live on the internet. I go through their publicly available content to show you exactly and precisely what's going on in the school district and what they're teaching your kids. These are really important streams, guys. If you want to learn how to investigate the schools, these are really, really important streams to watch. I show you explicitly and exactly how to do it. And so we're going to be picking up day 2 of Fairfax County, Virginia tomorrow at 5 p.m. But you can get caught up. I went through In this one, I got leaked a copy of their social emotional learning survey, the questions that they're asking students in the 6th, 8th, 10th, and 12th grade. They are shocking questions. Go back and watch part one. We're going to walk through the entire 173 question survey so you can see exactly and explicitly what's going on in the schools. I also think this was a great stream. How to play mind games and why we should fuck with their heads. This was about a week ago. Fucking awesome stream about psychological fuckery. I'm really proud of my psychological fuckery content. I think it's really good. And so you can go watch that instead. So the moral of the story here is that if you don't like drama, I have a lot of other content for you to watch. And you are welcome to go and avail yourself of it. Now, a couple other things. Like I said, tomorrow we are going to be picking up with day 2 of the live investigation of Fairfax County, Virginia schools. That's going to be starting at 5 p.m. Eastern time. Tomorrow night, we have Nothing Remotely Controversial with Joshua and I, where I actually talked to Joshua earlier today about all of this Tim Pool drama. I did a whole debrief. Joshua will be ready to give his assessment about what's going on Nothing Remotely Controversial, but this is a show that I do weekly with him where we talk about the news and what's going on in the world, and then Joshua, who is a professional psychic, uses his psychic powers to help us try to predict what's going on. He's really good at it. He's getting very, very accurate. And so you can join us tomorrow at 9:30 p.m. for that. But the big surprise, if you're into the drama, the big surprise is that, well, I told you guys that I was talking to Tim Pool's ex-employees. I told you guys that after I did my initial stream about why Adam was fired from Timcast IRL, Tim's former employees started reaching out to me. And they reached out to me because they said, Carlin, we saw your stream about what happened with Adam, and you were the only person to get it right. And you were the only person to not embellish what happened. And so I've actually been talking to some of Tim's former employees for, well, a little while now. I know a lot of stuff that's going on. And this stream was not my idea. Ben, who is Tim's former network engineer, he was the guy that was responsible for like basically keeping Tim's network online at the Cast Castle. He's coming on the channel on Thursday. And he's going to validate Adam's side of the story. And he's going to talk about what it was like to work for Tim, what's really going on behind the scenes. This may or may not be the first of a series of conversations that we might do because there's a lot going on, but Ben is being very brave. He does want to speak out, and I'm happy to offer him a platform with which to tell his story. I am not afraid of getting forever banished from Tim's show because I never thought I was going to be invited on it anyway. And so, unlike most content creators, I don't really care if I pissed him off. I care about the truth. I'm an industrial organizational psychologist. I have worked in organizations or with teams like this for a really long time. I studied workplace bullying for 10 years of my life. I get really upset when I hear about employees being mistreated. And so I have been talking to Ben and some of Tim's other former employees behind the scenes, and I will not reveal their identities unless they want to reveal themselves. And I'm deeply sympathetic to what has gone on, and I want them to be able to talk about it, and I want them to feel like someone has their back, because one of the common things that happens when you're in really toxic work environments is that you really don't feel like anyone has your back. And so I'm this isn't even so much of an interview because I really just see this as Ben being able to tell his story. He's going to, oh no, no, he's breaking his NDA. There is an NDA. He's breaking it. He's breaking it because he wants to tell the truth. And so that's going to be on Thursday on the channel at 5 p.m. And so, yeah, you can come back for that. And you guys are going to get a chance to ask Ben your questions as well. And we're just going to see where it goes. Milo says, here is the $10 from the Timcast subscription I canceled today. Oh, thank you, Milo. I really do appreciate that. Mark Robichaud, Carlin, you can't do it. It's a bad time for Tim. Tim can suck my dick. I really don't care if it's a bad time for him. Tim really should have covered the Dom Bulldog story. He should have covered the Don Bulldog story instead of going on his show and complaining about people spamming him. Now, that's not the reason I'm doing this. I'm doing this because I'm an organizational psychologist, and this is actually interesting to me from a professional standpoint. Toxic work environments have always been interesting to me. So that's actually why I'm doing it. But I got to tell you, I would have been much less inclined to do all this drama stuff if Tim had covered the Don Bulldog story. So it is what it is, what it is. But guys, if you want to support the work I'm doing, I hope you will mount that like button for me. We mount the like button on this channel. We do not smash it. We mount the like button. I hope you will consider subscribing to the channel if you have not already. And if you would like to join me for a private, unrecorded call at 7 p.m. today in about 2 hours, we do them every single week. We do them twice a week. We do them on Mondays at 7 p.m. and we do them on Wednesdays at noon. And you can get access to those private unrecorded calls by becoming a member of my locals or a member of my Patreon. Let me put the link in the chat. You can find the links to those at activelyunwoke.com/support. You can also, by the way, if you're on Actively Unwoke, to support my work anyway, actually one of the very best things you could do, boop, is pick up a copy of my book, Actively Unwoke, the ultimate guide for fighting back against the woke insanity in your life, which is really what I spend most of my time doing, not this drama bullshit. But again, I got to get you guys in the door somehow, so I'm willing to play the game. But if you want to support the work I'm doing and get access to my community and my private, unrecorded Zoom calls that we do on Mondays and Wednesdays every single week, then you can head over and join via Patreon, anywhere from $5 a month all the way up to $250 a month, depending on what kind of perks you want, including sponsorship opportunities and that sort of thing. You can also get some cool merch. I love this Mad Hatter Giving the Red Pill t-shirt. You can get that at $25 a month on Patreon exclusively. But the other place you can join is via my locals community. Locals is really where I'm the most active. That is my private community. My community is the best community on all of locals. I really do believe that. We keep each other sane. It is a very active community of people who just, are tired of the bullshit of life, and we hang out and we talk about real things, and it's a breath of fresh air. So you can find the link for that over at activelyunwoke.com/support, also in the description below. And you can join locals for $5 a month, $50 a year. You can make a one-time gift, whatever works for you. And that will get you access to all sorts of stuff. It's a big week in locals because on Saturday, we are doing Unabomber Book Club. We are reading the Unabomber Manifesto. You can Google it. You can find it on the internet somewhere. We are reading the Unabomber Manifesto and getting together to talk about it at 3 p.m. on Saturday. And I hope some of you will join me for that. It's going to be really, really great. And if you join right now, you'll also be able to join us for our private call at 7 p.m. where we can keep on dishing the dirt if you so choose. Murphy's Pool, I'm not saying that name. Mount that like button like Lydia mounted Tim. Had to be that guy, Murphy's Pool. You just had to be that guy. Did I miss another super chat? No, I got all the rest of them. Okay, awesome. Well, yeah, I mean, Ted was right about a lot of things. If you guys have not read the Unabomber Manifesto, it's legit, man. Okay, yeah, he killed people and did some other scandalous stuff, but really, like, let's get together and have some productive time. All right, let's do that. All right. Who in the chat? I'm just really curious. I'm going to do a little poll. Who in the chat read Lydia's Twitter thread? And if you read Lydia's Twitter thread, then what did you think about it? I'm just going to give people a second to chat in. I have not read this entire thread, so I don't really have an opinion yet, other than the first 3 tweets were really bad. Oh, Bree, I did miss your super chat. Thank you for reminding me. I thought I missed one. Bree super chatted in. Why do you think Adam picked Thanksgiving to tell his story? Well, he didn't pick Thanksgiving. He picked the day after Thanksgiving, so I have to give him props for that. I think he was ready to tell it. I don't think it had anything to do with Thanksgiving. I think he was just ready to tell it. Adam has been hinting. I've said this multiple times. Adam has been hinting around about this for like 2 years. He drops these hints and he says, no, 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 I can't tell anymore. And then he drops more hints. And then he says, no, and he drops more. He has wanted to tell this story for 2 years. I think it just reached kind of like a boiling point for him where he didn't want to hold it in anymore. And I think he's probably also has separated himself enough from Tim now that he probably felt safe. But I don't think it had anything to do with Thanksgiving. I think it just had to do with the fact that Adam reached his breaking point with it. Spin the unidentified aerial phenomenon. I don't have a UFO, guys. I don't have one. Maybe you guys can help me come up with something in replace of a UFO. Let's see. Hey, hey, whoa, whoa says it made her look petty. The way she was insulting Adam felt more like she was just pandering to a conservative audience. He wasn't angry just because of her pro life stance. Like, come on. Well, yeah. And here's the other thing, too. Hang on. Here's the other thing, too. Tim Pool did not fire Adam because he snapped at Lydia. Can we just be real about this for a second? Tim Pool did not fire Adam because he snapped at Lydia. If Tim said he legally had to fire Adam, he is a liar. People yell at each other in workplaces all the time. Again, I'm an organizational psychologist. I have quite literally helped organizations work through issues like this many, many, many times. It's not that hard. It's not uncommon. Usually it has to do with different communication styles and there being a pissing match going on, but it's really not uncommon for people to yell at each other. So even like in the first couple tweets that I wrote, Lydia was like, "This would not be tolerated in any workplace." Lydia doesn't know what the fuck she's talking about. Tim Pool fired Adam because Tim and Adam were in a perpetual pissing contest on that show. And when Adam snapped at Lydia, Tim all of a sudden had an excuse. It wasn't the reason Tim fired Adam, it was the excuse Tim gave for firing Adam. Let's see. She sounds like a jaded girlfriend. Melissa says, I honestly hope all this does not hurt her marriage. I want her to be happy and be able to move on. I totally agree with that, Melissa. I really do. I don't think that, like, the people who are trying to make it seem like Lydia's husband should judge Lydia for this. Bro, we all make mistakes, all right? We all do stupid things when we're in love. And I do legitimately think that Lydia is in love with Tim. I think Lydia's in love with Tim to this day. If anything, I think what Lydia's husband should be worried about the most is the fact that Lydia probably married her husband because her husband is friends with Tim and it was as close as she could get to Tim without it being Tim himself. But I would bet you all the money in my bank account that if Tim left his girlfriend and said, Lydia, I want to be with you, Lydia would leave her husband in about 2.5 seconds. That's what should worry Lydia's husband. Not about Lydia's past indiscretions. We all have indiscretions in our past. But the fact that Lydia is still obviously in love with Tim, has always been in love with Tim, and probably married her husband because it was as close to Tim as she could get without it being Tim himself. That's my guess. I could be wrong. That was kind of a bitchy thing for me to say, but I don't really care anymore. Don't care. Jennifer says Lydia's watered down response was an attempt to redirect attention away from her. Well, yeah, and she was really bad at it. Holy cow. This is just like really, really bad. Let's see. Do I have her husband's additional tweets for no, I don't have her husband. Did her husband do a thread as well? We can totally look at it. If someone wants to send me the link to her husband's thread, I will totally look at that too. Toffee Nut says, honestly, her responses were predictable for a person that got set on blast. She tried acting like, okay, the gloves are coming off, just basically deflects all responsibility. Well, that's like Lydia's following Tim's lead because Tim deflected all responsibility. Let's go back. Let's do our little recap. Number one, on Friday, Adam did a stream in which he spilled the beans about why he was fired from Timcast and basically said it was because of Lydia and that there were shenanigans going on with Tim and Lydia, and then he snapped at Lydia and Tim basically took Lydia's side. On Saturday, Tim responded to Adam saying, no, Adam, that's not why you were fired. And Tim lied in that response. And then Lydia at the same time released this thread. Now, what's really interesting about both Tim and Lydia's responses is that both of them are abdicating all responsibility. With Adam's response, at least, Adam is taking responsibility for snapping at Lydia. He is. Adam is taking some responsibility on himself. Now, You could argue that maybe Adam is deflecting on other points too, but by and large, I think Adam's taking responsibility. Tim and Lydia have taken no responsibility at all in any way. And that should be telling for everyone about where the responsibility really lies. Because Adam has taken some responsibility. He said, you know what? I did some things that maybe I wasn't exactly proud of. Okay. Tim and Lydia have taken zero responsibility for what happened. That's telling to me as in and of itself. Mark Robichaud says, I'm surprised no one has been murdered at my work. Well, yeah, I mean, people don't understand this. Listen, I used to work a lot of my organizational psychology practice was around marketing agencies, creative agencies. I worked with a lot of like medium-sized creative agencies. That was where kind of like my sweet spot was. And I'll tell you what, man, in creative agencies, there were blow up arguments like once a week. It's just the way it goes. Let's see. Just scrolling through the chat. Let me see. All right, you guys got lots to say today. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, guys, mount that like button. Let's get into it. So, I am going to read this thread from Lydia, most of it for the first time. And what I'm going to try to do is break down the psychology that I see it. Now, insofar as I see Lydia in general, I see Lydia, this is really tough for me. I'm looking into this situation from the outside, kind of like I would do if I was coming in to consult with them, because I haven't been directly involved in any of like the behind the scenes stuff for a lot of it, except with Adam. Like I knew what Adam's story was, but like I'm kind of looking at this as like an objective observer, kind of looking down at it from a higher vantage point to say, what are the psychological underpinnings of why this is going on? See, stuff like this, guys, it is hard for me to understand why you are talking about this subject. I didn't think you cared at all about them. Is this just a hate fest? Well, Bruce, as I said at the top, if you don't want to watch this, you can go and watch my other content. If you come in my chat and complain, you're going... Okay, let's go over the rules of my chat. Hang on, before we get into this. Sorry, I should have done this earlier. I knew I was going to have a lot of new people here. Let me get my chat rules up so we can do that real quick, because I do not have an unmoderated chat on my channel at all in any way. So let me go over my chat rules really quick, and then we'll get into the psychology of Lydia. Okay, I have 2 rules in my chat. Number 1, don't be a dick. Do not insult me. Do not insult other people in the chat. I do not really care if you insult Tim or Adam or Lydia or any of the other like members of the unholy trinity or anyone else that's involved in this. I guess there's no other members of the unholy trinity. I don't care if you insult anyone that we're talking about, but you're not going to insult me and you're not going to insult other people in the chat. I like to keep things nice for everyone, in which everyone can participate and not feel like they're going to engage in a shit show in the chat just to see who has the biggest dick. On that note, number 2, no whining. If you whine about the content, I'm going to tell you to go watch something else. You are an adult. You need to take responsibility for the links that you clicked on. If you don't want to watch something, don't click on it. Go watch something else. If I ask you to stop doing something, then I expect you to stop doing it. I do not want you whining and saying, no, I'm not doing that thing. I'm not doing that thing. I'm not doing that thing. Because you are doing that thing. That's why I asked you to stop doing it in the first place. So don't be a dick and no whining. And that's it. That's it. And I would encourage the mods in the chat to moderate heavily as you see fit. All right, let's go back to Lydia. Let's go back to Lydia. Guys, just so you know, when you click on content that you don't actually want to watch, what happens is that you are served up more of that content. So if you have previously clicked on a video that I've done about the unholy trinity, I promise you, you are going to get served more videos about the unholy trinity. The only way to get yourself out of that algorithm is to stop clicking on content you don't want to watch. Gerald says, I felt bad for Lydia originally because of her MS, but after all this stuff, it's hard to feel bad now. Yeah, I can. Listen, man, whether you are sick or whether you're not sick, don't dig your own hole. I mean, sometimes digging a hole is fine. I've certainly dug my own hole at times, but don't do it. Mark Robichaud, I don't see this as hatred. I see this as a lesson in personal relationships plus business and the power of ego in the workplace and cohabitation. Thank you, Mark. I do appreciate that. I do try to make drama streams productive. Alex is here for the drama. Alex, we know you. Alex is like, Alex disappeared for like several months. And then as soon as Tim and Lydia drama starts again, Alex is like, what's going on? I love you, Alex. You know I'm saying that with love. I'm unsubscribing because this person exercises no personal responsibility, so this person will now be blocked. Goodbye. All right, guys. So I think that where I would like to start with Lydia is that I really go back and forth in my head on, is Lydia a victim or is Lydia the villain? Is she the victim or is she the villain? Now, I want to point something out because Batman here is saying Lydia got married because she's pregnant. Well, the thing is, Batman, and this is what I want everyone to realize, is there is a difference between why people say they did something and the underlying psychology that actually drove that decision. So just because, I mean, Tim claims that he fired Adam because Adam snapped at Lydia. That obviously wasn't the reason that Tim fired Adam. Tim could say that 19 Ways from Sunday, but that is obviously not the truth. There are almost always underlying psychological reasons why people do things that have nothing to do at all with the reason they gave. The reason that Tim fired Adam was because Adam and Tim were in a constant pissing contest in which Tim was starting to feel as he was being overpowered by Adam. And since Tim has to be the center of attention, has to be the smartest person in the room, has to be all about Tim, that was going to inherently be an uncomfortable situation for Tim. So Tim had to get rid of the person that was making him feel uncomfortable. So he waited for something to happen in which he had an excuse to say, okay, Adam, you're out. But that wasn't really the reason Tim fired Adam. It was just the excuse that Tim used. Same thing with Lydia. I think that Lydia ended up with the person that Lydia is with because that person is as close as she can possibly get to marrying Tim that is not Tim himself. And again, I firmly believe that if Tim today said to Lydia, I want to run off with you and get married, Lydia would leave her husband in about 3.5 seconds. I don't care if she's pregnant or not. I would bet that would be the case. Could I be wrong? Sure. Maybe I am. White Thunder says, everyone likes drama. I actually used to like watching Tim, especially when Adam was on. Yeah, I used to like watching them together as well. So I really don't know. I really do go like back and forth with it. Is Lydia the victim or is she the villain? And in what is probably true is that both things are probably true. There are probably some ways in which Lydia is the victim, and there are some ways in which Lydia instigated this entire thing. Do I think that it is like a complete Yoko situation? No, not really. Because mostly I think that Tim, at the end of the day, is in charge of all of this. Tim is the CEO. Tim has all the power in the situation. Tim loved playing Lydia like a fiddle. Don't tell me for 1 second that Tim did not love that Lydia is in love with him. Don't tell me for 1 second that Lydia or that Tim did not love every second of having Lydia follow him around, having Lydia fawn over him, have Lydia rub his feet when he's sitting next to his girlfriend. I bet Tim loved every single second of that. So I mostly put the blame of the unholy trinity of drama in Tim Pool's lap. Because at the end of the day, he's the CEO. He's the boss. He's the one that started the whole thing. He's the one that didn't handle the situation appropriately with Adam. And if you want to know how I would have handled that situation, you're welcome to watch my other streams on the topic. So mostly I blame Tim. And mostly, I think that Tim brought Lydia in because Lydia is weak and easy to control. And Tim likes to have everyone in his life, so far as I can tell, in control at all times. Okay. I think that Tim does have a lot of narcissistic tendencies. I think Tim very well could have narcissistic personality disorder. I think it's for based on what I've heard in the last couple of weeks, I'm almost positive that he does. Now, I know I've said this in my other streams, but I'll say it again because we might have new people. I don't use the word narcissist as a pejorative. I don't use it as an insult. If someone has narcissistic personality disorder, I don't think it's their fault. It has to do with their genetics and how they were raised. It's really not their fault. And so, can I call someone a villain or evil for having a disorder that was inflicted on them rather than as a result of their actions? No, I can't. I don't think Tim is evil. I don't hate Tim. I don't hate Lydia. I don't hate Adam. I just find the psychology of this whole situation fascinating. Mama says, I think the most entertaining thing about this situation is the fact that those people have how is that these people have postured themselves as morally and intellectually superior are proving their falsibility in one fell swoop. Yeah. I mean, and guys, again, like I've said this before, don't idolize influencers. They will never pass a purity test, and that includes me. I will not pass any purity tests at all. I promise you, I will pass absolutely zero purity tests. Do not ever assume that your influencers, especially when your influencers are trying to position themselves as being morally superior. At least I don't position myself as being morally superior. I've never said I'm morally superior to anyone. I've never said people have to do like me or else they are impure and morally corrupt and all that bullshit. The people who are saying that other people are morally corrupt are probably the most morally corrupt people on the entire internet. At least I fucking say I'm not perfect and I don't intend to be. So, I think that Tim could very well be a narcissist, and because of that, I think that he likes to surround himself with people who can be easily controlled. And this was another problem with Adam, by the way, because Adam could not be easily controlled. This is another reason Tim had to fire him because Tim likes to control his environment, right? Adam threw a wrench into all of it when Adam started gaining confidence and finding his voice and things like that. Lydia, however, was always there to parrot whatever Tim said. Did Lydia ever disagree with Tim on that show? I'm actually asking because I never really watched that show that much after Adam left because I only liked the dynamic between Tim and Adam. That was all I was watching it for. But like, did Lydia? Can anyone think of a point where Lydia ever pushed back against Tim or ever disagreed with him? Okay, so she disagreed with him on abortion. All right. Can anyone else think of an example? I mean, they did that show together for how many episodes? Like a couple of years, right? 2.5 years, something like that. When your moral high ground crumbles. Yeah, this is why you should never pretend to have a moral high ground, guys. Never ever pretend to have a moral high ground. Because it will crumble at some point. Yeah, people are having. Well, give me an example, Lacey. Give me an example. People are basically saying in my chat that really the only time that Lydia disagreed with Tim was about abortion. She wouldn't disagree with him. She wouldn't put, and even if she was disagreeing with him, she wouldn't really push back on him aggressively. This is why Tim liked Lydia. Easily kept in control. And I think to a certain extent, Lydia needed Tim for like personality traits. Like, I mean, I think she mirrors him to a great degree. And I find it telling that Lydia waited until after Tim responded to post her thread. She wanted to see what Tim would say. So let's see what she said. First tweet. I've thought very carefully about I'm gonna have to try really hard not to do this in a patronizing voice. I'm gonna try to be professional, I swear. I've thought very carefully about whether to say this, but since it seems no holds are barred, she's already trying to position herself as morally superior. She's saying, I would never stoop to Adam's level, but since we're there, I'm going to engage. Mark, you are a worse instigator than Alex. Alex, you and Mark need to hang out because both of you are like so into this, and Mark might out instigate you, Alex. But since it seems no holds are barred, I think it's fair. Until this morning, my sense of basic human decency, even in the face of slander and insults, held me back. But I think that decency is handicapping me. So let's go. Holy shit, is Lydia already painting herself as the victim or what? Is Lydia already painting herself as the victim or what? Lydia, you can tell Lydia has learned a lot from Carrie Smith. If you don't know who Carrie Smith is, don't worry about it, but she's friends with Lydia. Carrie Smith has been doing shit like this to me for 2 years. In almost exactly this tone of voice. Like, I almost wonder if, like, Lydia ran the draft of this thread by Carrie for feedback because that's how close it sounds. But Lydia is, like, positioning herself as, I am so above all of this. So what if I fucked my boss? I am so above all of this. But I'm being dragged into the mud against my will because I am a poor victim of everyone else in the world. That awful Adam. Adam is the worst. He is awful. And you know, I don't even know what, but she's obviously painting herself as the victim. Cooler King says, if you're going to idolize anyone, make sure they've been dead for a while and you've heard everything everyone else has to say about them first. That is wise advice, Cooler King. Wise advice indeed. Adam finally told you all that he blew up at me. Hang on, I'll make this bigger. Adam finally told you all that he blew up at me. At work. Right in front of our boss. Remove our level of public influence. Lydia gives herself a lot of credit for the public influence that she has. In what workspace would that not result in firing? None. That's wrong. We'll talk about that in a second. But even after that, he gave the option he had the option to not give the ultimatum he gave to Tim. There's so much in this thread, but I'm pretty sure that Lydia just contradicted everything that Tim said about what happened. She directly contradicted it, and she may not even realize that she directly contradicted it. Mark Robichaud, Lydia is the concubine of the Beanie Emperor. Oh, God. Mark, why did you put that picture in my head? Why would you do that to me, Mark? I thought we were becoming friends. Well, I have not heard that Lydia threw herself at Adam, but I will say this. I have absolutely heard that Lydia threw herself at other people. I have absolutely heard that. Perhaps we'll have more information about that someday, but I've absolutely heard that. If she was actually above this, she wouldn't have made this tweet. That is exactly right. Exactly correct. Now, there's so much wrong about this. Number one, um, yeah, I didn't say it. You said it. Turn it up. Oh God, I didn't say it. No, okay. We're not gonna do that. No. So, the idea that in any workplace, if someone blew up at someone else, that would instantly result in firing is absolutely incorrect. Absolutely incorrect. I have been in countless workplaces where I have yelled at people, other people have yelled at people, I've been yelled at, um, other like, it literally happens all the time. I have literally been brought into organizations in which multiple people were yelling at other people all the time, and I had to go in to help them sort all that shit out. So Lydia's stance in this is just really reflective of the fact that she doesn't have a lot of work experience, of life experience. Because to say that in workplaces people don't blow up and yell at each other, that is completely incorrect. And Tim was lying when he said that he had a legal responsibility to do something about it. He did not. This might not be what people want to hear. And I covered this in the other clip that I posted today about if you want to hear me talk about this more, watch watch not that. Those are my live videos. Watch this one. Tim Pool lies about firing Adam. Like it is I because I talk about this in that. It is not illegal to yell at someone else in the work environment. It's just not. Workplace bullying is not illegal in this country. And it's certainly not illegal in New Jersey where all this took place. So Lydia is just flat lying here. She doesn't know what she's talking about. This stuff happens in work environments all the time. Adam's firing had nothing to do with this. Tim is lying when he said it is. So this tweet we can just like throw out. But I think that the most interesting thing about this tweet is Tim said that Adam had quit. In Tim's response video, he said that he didn't fire Adam, that Adam quit. Well, then why is Lydia saying even after that, he had the option to not give the ultimatum? Because why would that even matter? Why would California's a little bit different, Johnny. California, and I actually said this in the other video, California has labor laws that disproportionately favor the employee, but there's still a certain standard that people have to meet, and a one-time blow up does not meet that standard. But you are correct that California's labor laws disproportionately favor the employee, and so Lydia may have had a case in California, but they were not in California, they were in New Jersey. Jack says, what do you think ultimately comes of this? Pointless drama or a massive shift in perspective of Timcast?" I mean, I don't know. I really don't. But I don't think that Tim would have responded in the way that Tim did respond if he wasn't experiencing a massive backlash on his end. And what do I mean by that? Excuse me, guys. I'm coming down with a little cold. That's why I'm like drinking water and clearing my throat and stuff, but we're going to get through it. What do I mean by that? I think that Tim had a lot of people unsubscribe from his channels, and I think he had a lot of people cancel their memberships. And I think he's going to be doing damage control for a little while. And I think, you know what, to be honest, like I think that Tim's content is great in terms of helping people to red pill. I really do. And so I think it's too bad. I think the whole thing is too bad. This was an easily fixable situation when it happened. I'm going to be really honest. Had Tim not shit talked me on Twitter around the time that this all happened and had reached out to me and said, "Carlin, you're an organizational psychologist. I know how to do this stuff. Can you come in and help this little employment situation?" Had he done that, I would have been able to fix this in about a week. Okay, maybe a month, because sometimes things take a little longer, but I actually would have been able to fix this situation for him. It wouldn't have even been that hard. But Tim didn't do that. Tim chose to put me on blast on Twitter, which was really fun for me. He could have asked for help. He didn't. Such as it is, man. We dig our own holes, right? We make our own beds. You got to lie in them. And I think that Tim is not the most capable CEO when it comes to managing people. He's just not. It's a lack of experience thing. But I think the biggest thing that I took away from this tweet is Tim lied. This is confirmation that Tim lied in his video. And if we know Tim lied about why he fired Adam, then why should we trust anything else that Tim has to say? That's how I really feel about it. And again, I think it's too bad. I really do. I think Tim put money and status above doing the right thing. And I think putting money and status above the right thing always ends up in a bad place. Did I see Tim Pool's tweet about an hour ago? No, I didn't because I was doing other things. Let me check real quick. Let's see. Oh God. So this is Tim's tweet. So he's getting all of them on his show tonight. Wow. That's going to be something, isn't it? That's going to be something. Hey man, good for him. Good for him. Listen, I actually don't want Tim to fail. I really don't. I don't actually want Tim to fail. I think that Tim provides a critical thing. What did Tim say about you back then? Tim called me an SJW. Tim was pissed off because I said that he shouldn't have had Vosh on his show because I think that Vosh weaponizes his audience, and Vosh does weaponize his audience. Vosh has weaponized his audience against me. At the time, I had like 4 other women in my DMs saying that Vosh had basically weaponized his audience against them. I was pissed off that Tim had Vosh on his show, which inherently is going to give Tim more of an audience. And Tim came out and said that I was arguing that Vosh should be deplatformed, which I never actually argued. And he called me an SJW on Twitter. And that was really fun. And even when I messaged him, I said, I didn't actually say this. None of that really mattered. And the ironic thing is, Tim really could have fucking used my help back then with all of this. He really could have, but that's such as it goes. This might not be untrue. I'm not saying that I've heard Tim is a Fed in the last couple of weeks, but I might have heard that Tim has had dealings with the FBI in the past couple of weeks. I'm just saying. Gerald, Tim has to deflect somehow. Yes, he does. Yeah, Batman, you indeed, Batman, you got that one. Yeah. You guys can think whatever you want to think about that. That is not a topic I'm going to talk about right this second. Maybe someday, but I'm just saying that certain people may have had certain dealings with certain 3-letter agencies that they don't want certain libertarian audiences to know about. Take that for what it is. Let's keep going. He never had to say, it's her or me, but he did, because Adam has a lot of unprocessed guilt. I firmly believe that's why he's still hung up about it years later. The guilt is why he yelled at me in the first place. He screamed at me for being pro-life. You put it together. Okay. Lots to unpack there. Lots to unpack there. First of all, I think Lydia is really projecting when she says that Adam has a lot of unprocessed guilt. Now, I think in terms of I found it to be deeply touching. Adam's talking about how his former girlfriend or whatever had an abortion and that she had asked him for his opinion and that he said he kind of gave it to her. Alex spreading rumors in the chat. I found Adam talking about the abortion to be deeply moving. I really did. And I think it was good for people to see Adam talking about that. I think it was good for men to see Adam talking about that. I'm really glad that he did it. I do think he probably does have unprocessed guilt in regards to the abortion. However, I do not think he has unprocessed guilt in regards to Lydia. And I think that Lydia in this is obfuscating that she probably said something or did something to set Adam off. Lydia wants to act as though she's not making passive aggressive snipes at all at Adam this entire time. Of course she was making passive aggressive snipes at Adam. So I don't think that Adam has guilt about the situation in regards to her. He may have guilt about what happened with the abortion, but not in regards to her. And so Lydia's trying to make it seem like Lydia was somehow involved in the abortion when in fact she had nothing to do with it. She was just like acting morally superior to him. And Lydia again is deflecting that she had a part in this. There is not a single person. There is not a single person in the unholy trinity to be Tim, Adam, and Lydia that is innocent. Every single one of them played a role in this. Adam played a role in this, Tim played a role in this, and Lydia played a role in this. And I find it telling that Lydia's like, I didn't do anything. I was just pro-life, and Adam just didn't like that I was pro-life. No, Lydia, that's not what you did. You were probably a passive-aggressive bitch. You were probably a passive-aggressive bitch live on the internet. You were probably a passive-aggressive bitch off of the internet. And then Adam finally had enough and he blew up. And by the way, my guess, and I don't know anything about this, that Adam hasn't told me anything about this, but I'm going based on what I've seen happen in other cases. My guess is there was probably a lot leading up to Adam blowing up at Lydia. It wasn't just one thing. It was one thing on top of another, on top of another, on top of another, on top of another. And then Lydia looks at him the wrong way when he's telling a story that has to do with something that he still has feelings about. And it's not that it's not even that it wasn't even about really the pro-life conversation, I'm betting. It was like Adam hates Lydia, Adam hates Lydia, Adam hates Lydia, Lydia's instigating Adam, Lydia's instigating Adam, Lydia's instigating, Lydia's instigating, Lydia's instigating, probably because Lydia probably wanted to separate Adam and Tim altogether. Because if Lydia's in love with Tim, she's not going to want anyone else to get Tim's attention. She's going to want it all for herself. And so she has to separate Adam from Tim somehow. So Lydia instigates and instigates and instigates and instigates and instigates in ways that she can look completely innocent and say, I am just morally righteous and pro-life. And then that cherry on top happens where Adam has had enough. And Adam's basically like, fuck you, Lydia. And there is no doubt in my mind that Adam probably was the more aggressive one because Adam's more fiery than Lydia is. But don't think for 1 second that this entirely came from Adam. Lydia knew exactly what she was doing. Lydia kept poking and poking and poking and poking because she knew that eventually she would set Adam off. And then Adam would go at her in a way that Lydia could use to separate Adam from Tim so that she could get more of Tim's attention. I could be wrong in all of that. That's just my guess. Dylan says the huge overcorrection Tim and Lydia are doing about the abortion topic makes me think years from now we will find out she had an abortion and Tim's love child heard it here first. That would not surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me at all in any way. Let's keep going. Guys, please mount the like button for me if you appreciate my psychological analysis. How many likes do I have? I've got like almost 700 people watching right now, which is pretty rad, by the way. I do streams daily at 5 o'clock about a variety of topics. So please mount. I've got 106. Can we get this up over 200 likes? Come on, guys. I'm doing this with a cold. Please, come on. All right. The fact he's chosen to air personal matters is simply a sign of abject immaturity. The man is nearly 40 years old. He has tons of money. His wife is lovely. He lives in Sweden, poor soul. But I do feel bad for him. He's clearly very miserable somehow. That's his guilt. No, Adam is not miserable. This is Lydia projecting. This is Lydia, again, trying to remain on her perch to say, I am morally superior to Adam in every possible way. This is cringe, man. Yes, Alex, I agree. Cringe. Adam is allowed to talk about whatever the fuck he wants. Anyone is allowed to talk about whatever they want. And so to say, ew, this, I mean, listen, look at this, guys. There's like what, 666 people watching right now. What an ironic number. 666 people watching right now because you all love drama. You know it, I know it, we all know it. People love drama. If Adam wants to do drama streams to talk about what happened in his perspective and his point of view, guess what? I don't actually consider this to be lowly content. People might disagree. I consider this to be content about the human experience. There is nothing wrong with talking about the human experience. There is nothing wrong with showing an authentic self. I thought there was so many elements of Adam's stream that were really beautiful and touching because Adam was being fully authentic with who he is. Listen, guys, we need to document elements of the human experience. If people don't bring their real selves to the internet that are doing this type of content, then we are only going to have influencer content in which everyone is perfect and everyone is fabulous and everyone has their hair and makeup in just the right way. Do you guys want history to remember us by influencers? I don't want history to remember us by influencers. I want people to tell real human stories. That's what makes biography so interesting. It's what makes documentaries so interesting. Like Lydia's telling me that Adam showed he was a human being. Oh my word, the horror. You mean that Adam Crigler showed for a single stream after he's done several hundred shows that he was a human being? Oh, clutch your pearls harder, Lydia. Jenny's getting inky with it says, if that's how she talked to Adam back then, no wonder he got mad. She sounds like woke on the right. Yes, that's exactly correct. And this is a really good insight, Jenny. What we are seeing in this stream probably reflects exactly how Lydia was speaking to Adam every single day. You're going to tell me that this passive aggressive bullshit is worse than Adam getting upset and snapping? No, it's not worse. Things like this are just as aggressive as someone yelling. In fact, yelling might actually be preferable because if someone explodes and is like, fuck you, bitch, at least they get it out of their system and then they move on to something else. But Lydia is in a constant, perpetual state of passive fucking aggressive. Yeah, Lisa Poole is talking about Tim's behavior, isn't she? She is indeed. She is indeed. So no, I don't think Adam is miserable. I don't think Adam is projecting his misery. I think Adam is perfectly happy in his house in Sweden. If you have seen any pictures of Adam's house at all, it is beautiful. He's going to raise a family there. He has got a beautiful property. Like, he is doing just fine. He's doing great with his show. So any of this is just Lydia projecting her emotions onto Adam, and I don't think it's an accurate assessment of the situation. Moving on. Well, Lisa Poole knows how to get in touch if she wants to. I have some questions about that situation, but Lisa knows how to get in touch with me if she wants to. Anyway. To be honest, I always enjoyed his company and respected him, though he never deserved it. I'm sorry, what? Though he never deserved it? Why would Lydia say that Adam never deserved her respect? Because she didn't like some of the things that he said? It seems to me that someone who says that another person never deserved my respect probably doesn't deserve respect from other people. He mocked my past career, in which I had 3 jobs and attended school. From my understanding, his former career was check notes, playing video games while his wife worked. Masculine. That's not true. Um, I put the TikTok on my Twitter. It's on there somewhere if people want to see it. This is not true. Adam was a model. Adam was a very successful model. Think about that what you will, but I don't think that that's actually as easy as a lot of people think it is. And Adam was a professional skateboarder. Adam was doing just fine. Adam did not just play video games while his wife worked. He was doing other things. And by the way, Adam now is doing his show. He's doing his coffee thing. He's not unproductive. He's not doing anything differently than what Lydia does, except that Adam is probably doing more than what Lydia does. So, why is Lydia complaining about Adam mocking her career and in the same breath is also mocking Adam's career? Who really cares? Who really cares? Now, what Adam did say is Lydia was a shitty producer. And I think most of us can agree that Lydia was a shitty producer. You can even look at Tim's thing. You can even look at Tim saying, I don't book guests. Sometimes, if a mistake gets made, it was someone else who was doing the booking. Lydia was booking Tim's guests. Lydia was booking his guests. So every time Tim had a fuck up with one of his guests, guess whose fault that was? Boop, 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 boop. Adam, I think, was it Tim? So one of them talked about how Adam was actually given like a button to push to put the camera on him because Lydia, when she was producing the show, couldn't even be bothered to push a fucking button to change the camera when Adam was talking. Lydia didn't do some of the basic tasks that a producer does. So she shouldn't be complaining about how other people are bad at their job when, by all measures, Lydia was not a good producer. She was not a good producer. And by the way, Lydia wants to talk about people are fired all the time for blowing up their coworkers. Guess what? People are fired way more often for sucking at their jobs, like Lydia sucked at hers, than they are for yelling at a coworker. If you ask me, is someone fired more often for sucking at their jobs or for yelling at their coworker? It is sucking at their jobs every single day of the week. And in addition, Lydia was fucking the boss. Do people sometimes get fired for fucking the boss? Yup. It's happened once or twice. Now I think we all can kind of guess why Tim was white knighting for Lydia and why Lydia didn't get fired even though she sucked at her job. Probably because she was sucking something else. I'm just saying. Let's move on. And by the way, why is Lydia attacking Adam's masculinity? This is another thing that bothers me. Why is Lydia attacking Adam's masculinity? That's just fucking low, man. That's low. Not that it's anyone's business. But part of the reason I took the job with Timcast was because I was paying for my ex-husband's schooling. Every penny I earned in Colorado and in New Jersey went towards that. I even lived with my parents to save rent. Well, la-dee-da, Lydia, you weren't even getting paid that much at Timcast. You probably could have gotten paid more somewhere else. Lydia can't get a medal for paying for her husband's schooling. I'm sorry. You don't get any points for this. Guess what? When my husband and I first got married, my husband was still working his way through the green card process. He couldn't work for 2 fucking years. I had to be the primary breadwinner in our family for 2 years because my husband was legally prevented from working while he was going through the process of getting a green card. So you don't get any points for that, Lydia. That's what happens when you're married. You take care of each other. That's part of the thing. I did put my ex-husband through veterinary school in Europe. Why did her ex-husband have to go to school in Europe? Why did why did he have to go to school in Europe? Is my question. That just makes no sense to me. I don't understand. Alex says, I have seen too many people sucking at their job and still keep their employment, and there are unions, a whole other can of worms. Yeah, that is a whole other can of worms, Alex. You're not wrong about that, but that's like a whole other topic for a whole other day. I did put my ex-husband through veterinary school in Europe. The 6 years we were apart were the hardest and loneliest of my life. You guys know we ultimately divorced because he didn't want kids, not whatever Adam thinks happens. Well, that might be true. And I've said this before. Listen, you don't know if someone else, if someone in a relationship sleeps with someone else that is not a part of that relationship, you don't know what's going on in that person's relationship. So I actually, and this might surprise people, I don't think it's any of our business to judge Lydia's relationship with her ex-husband. I really don't. Not on the basis of her sleeping with Tim. I think there are many better reasons to judge Lydia that have nothing to do with that or that are tangentially related to that rather than directly because of that. But I think the focus on the cheating is misplaced because we don't know what was going on in their relationship. We don't know. We don't know what the bounds of their relationship is. I know many, many, many couples, especially when they're separated like that, that have agreements about what is allowed in their relationship. It is not uncommon for married couples, for committed couples, if they have to be separated, to have some sort of agreement about what is allowed. And so I don't judge her for that. Again, she obviously fell in love with Tim. That the emotions are far more the emotions to me are far more problematic than the sex, because you can have sex without having emotions, but emotions can fuck up a marriage. Sex outside of the relationship may or may not, depending on what your agreements are, but emotions are the things that fuck up marriages. Anyway, my bigger question here is this: why did Lydia's husband need to be in Europe? And why did Lydia not understand that her husband didn't want kids when they got married? Those are my bigger questions. Why are you marrying someone that you like one of you wanted kids and one of you didn't? Did you think you were going to change him? Did you think he was going to change his mind? Like, that to me is a bigger problem. And why were you living apart for 6 years? That makes no sense at all. Why did he have to go to veterinary school in Europe? You're welcome to call me whatever names you want because Adam is so guilt-ridden and emotionally stunted that he can't let go of what definitely wasn't a crush. Excuse me? Is Lydia saying that Adam had a crush on her? I turned down bonuses in hopes they'd make Adam happy. No bullshit. Even though I worked easily 10 times as hard as he did. Lydia, you fucking pushed buttons. Did Adam, like, who is she saying had a crush? I don't understand. It does. This is what I said, Alex. It sounds like she took notes from Carrie. It really does. It sounds like she took notes from Carrie. Bree says, I've heard of a lot of people who did medical, veterinary, etc. school in other countries for various reasons. That might be true. But again, like, why are you leaving your wife for 6 years to do that? I don't know. That's a long time. Like, why are you married to someone for 6 years that you're not living with? But like, what is the crush? I don't understand this. Does anyone have insight? Is she saying that Adam had a crush on her? I don't believe that Adam is guilt ridden. I don't believe that Adam is emotionally stunted. If anyone is emotionally stunted in this affair, it is Lydia. I mean, I think, well, I was about to say I think all the unholy trinity are like emotionally stunted in some way. But if like the most the most emotionally stunted of all of them is definitely Lydia. I'm sorry. It's absolutely Lydia. The fact that Lydia can't accept any responsibility for any of this at all, that to me is emotionally stunted. Oh, I have thoughts about unions. I have many, many thoughts about unions. Yeah, I mean, Adam's wife is gorgeous. If you guys haven't seen Adam's wife, she is stunning. She is a wonderful person. She's very, very nice. Adam married very, very well. I just don't understand why Lydia's bringing up a crush here. It kind of sounds like, did Lydia have a crush on Adam? Did Lydia have a crush on Adam that she was projecting? Maybe. Now let's talk about the turning down bonuses. I turned down bonuses in hopes they'd make Adam happy. Okay, well, let's go back just a few things here. I always enjoyed his company and respected him, even though he never deserved it. So you're telling me, Lydia, you're telling me that you turned down bonuses to make Adam happy, even though allegedly Adam was shitting on you the entire time? Guys, if someone, let me just do like a pop quiz in the chat. If someone was, if your coworker was shitting on you all the time, would you then turn down bonuses that were offered to you in order to make the person shitting on you happy? Let me say that again. If someone that you are working with is shitting on you all the time and your boss says, "Here is a Tesla." Would you say, "No, no. No, I can't accept that Tesla because I want that person to like me even though they shit on me all the time." Yeah, exactly. No, 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 no. Yeah, Melissa would demand an even bigger bonus. Exactly. No, 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 no. No one would do that, Lydia. That makes no sense at all. That makes absolutely no sense at all. Let's continue. He didn't like that our base pay was the same. I think the combination of greed and guilt got him. You saw his fancy drinks on the stream. He likes nice things and popularity. I was offered a Tesla that I refused because I don't want or need stuff like that. I didn't want a camera. Yo, you're saying that Adam is the bad guy because he likes fancy drinks and cool shit? Have you met Tim, Lydia? I'm sorry. Here is something that I absolutely have learned about Tim in the last couple weeks. Tim, and there's something admirable about this. So I will actually, I'm about to give Tim a little bit of credit here. One of the things that I've learned from talking to Tim's ex-employees is that Tim likes to go back and take care of people that he knew growing up. Okay? So Tim will like go back and hire someone and give the, like he'll go back to like people he knew in Chicago maybe 20 years ago that maybe need help, and he will hire them and give them a job. Okay, there's something admirable about that. There is. But when Tim goes back and hires his old friends from growing up to give them a job, it's not just out of the goodness of his heart. There's a little bit of, I'm going to hire you now and I'm going to take care of you and let me show you everything that I've built. It's a little bit of a braggy situation. It's like, yeah, I'm going to give you a job because you need a job and that's the nice thing to do. But I'm also going to show off my big fancy house and all the things I have and all the other things I've got going on. It's like it is. It's a weird mix. But the reason I bring that up is Lydia is shitting on Adam for liking fancy drinks. Lydia, you literally work for someone who buys fucking friends. Or worked, I guess. Tim buys friends. Tim buys toys. Tim buys houses. Tim buys lots of guns. Tim buys that fucking van. Tim gives away Teslas as bonuses. Tim pays everyone's rent. Tim buys Adam a $2,000 bottle of whiskey. Tim pays to move Adam to Sweden. You're going to tell me that proof that Adam is a bad person is that he likes fancy drinks and the guilt and the greed is just too much? No, dude. Nah. Tim is way more about showing off his shit than Adam is. I'm sorry. Yeah, well, Tim repeatedly says he'd be happy with nothing but a van down by the river. So then why doesn't Tim take his van and go down by the river? Listen, man, I don't begrudge Tim's success. I really don't. Tim has worked extremely hard for everything that he has. I don't begrudge him any of it. He has earned every single bit of it. And so don't think I'm shitting on Tim for what he has, because I'm not. I think that we should always cheer other people's successes and we should acknowledge when that success comes from someplace. And Tim has worked very hard for it. But don't tell me for one red second that Tim is just going to give it up one day to go live down by the river in his van. That is never going to happen. If Tim eventually does that, I will be shocked beyond all belief. Because I think Tim likes the status. I think he likes being the guy that wears the beanie to the White House. I think he likes being the guy with the big podcast that can get Kanye West on his show. I don't know why he's posting a picture of Milo doing coke, but, you know, and Nick Fuentes for that matter, God. But you're telling me that Adam likes this stuff more than Tim? No, I don't believe it. Not for one red second. And Lydia, if you refused a Tesla, that was stupid. That was stupid. If you're so hard up and you're working so hard to put your husband through school, then take the Tesla, sell the fucking Tesla, and pay for your husband's schooling. It's rich of someone who rolled out of bed at 3 p.m. every day to skate and work, sit at a table and talk to a friend for 2 hours to trash my intense hard work before I got to Timcast and after. I learned an entirely new field on the ground with the world watching. Lydia, pushing buttons and scheduling people for a show is not hard work. I'm sorry. I'm sure, like, you know, learning on the ground is an impressive thing, okay? But your job wasn't really that hard. All you had to do was schedule people and then sit there and push fucking buttons. It is really not difficult. It's not. And I'm sorry, like, if Adam can be successful sleeping until 3 a.m., skating, and then sitting down at a table to talk to someone for 2 hours, isn't that kind of living the dream? Isn't it living? If you had a choice between working a real job, like a 9 to 5 corporate job, or sleeping until 3 p.m., going skateboarding, and then sitting down and talking to your friend on camera and making way more money than you would if you worked a regular corporate job, which are you going to choose, man? I'm sorry. Adam was kind of living the dream. Listen, one of the reasons I'm even still doing this YouTube stuff is, to be quite frank, I don't want to go back and get a corporate job. I still do consulting and organizational, like, assessments every, like, once in a while, and I have ongoing clients that I do assessments for and things like that. So I still do kind of like my real job. But this is so much easier. It's so much more fun. I get to talk about topics I want to talk about every single day. I get to decide what I'm working on every day. I don't sleep till 3 p.m., but I sleep until like 10 a.m., 11 a.m. every day because I work late at night. I work late into the night because I work until like 2, 3, sometimes 4 in the morning because I'm a night owl. Like, it is so much more convenient to my life to be able to work late, do what I want to do late, write late, stay up and do stuff late, and then go to sleep whenever I want to go to sleep, and then to get up and roll out of bed when I want to roll out of bed, and then do this internet thing. It's so much more convenient. There's nothing wrong with having a job in which you are providing value out to people, getting paid an extraordinary amount of money. Like, anyone would choose that. It is a blessing to be able to do that. It is an absolute blessing. It is not something to shit on someone for. Absolutely not. Adam sat on camera, which I guess is better than sitting in front of video games. He went from a default Democrat to a Trump fan. That's his claim to fame. I guess he can add professional victim to his resume. Do I make $3.5 million a month? No, no. And I never will. I will never do what Tim Pool's doing. And that's my choice. I don't want to be like him. Listen, if there's anything I've learned in the last couple of years, it's that I only want to be like well known enough in order to be able to teach what I want to teach. I only want to be like this well known, just a little, just a smidgen, just enough to get people to watch my stuff and like occasionally like, subscribe to things or get into programs that I want to sell them so I can teach them more things. I just want to be able to teach people stuff. That's it. I don't need all the big stuff that Tim has. This is projection through a megaphone. I don't think you're wrong there. Yeah, I do stuff in New Hampshire too. Like, I do a lot of stuff offline. Like, basically, my internet habit supports me in doing stuff for free for families offline. That's that, and I'm cool with that, man. That is fine. But like, I would never shit on someone for making money, and I would never shit on someone for like for not working that hard and being successful. That's like living the dream. That's for everyone would want that, I would think. So Adam said on camera, which is better than sitting in front of video games. Again, she's implying that Adam wasn't doing anything else, which is not the truth. And there's nothing wrong from going to a Democrat to, I mean, I'm sorry. I went from being a Democrat to a Trump person, and then I left that because that's crazy, and then I became a libertarian. Um but there's nothing wrong with this. Adam had a journey. And what was so compelling about Tim and Adam back in the day, and those who were there will remember this, is we got to see Adam's journey. We got to see him red pill on camera. This is why I always identified more with Adam than I did with Tim, because I had a shared experience to Adam, and it was good, and it was incredibly valuable to be able to see someone red pill on camera. And the fact that Lydia is shitting on someone red pilling on camera when that is exactly what people need to see. You want to get more people to walk away from the Democratic Party. You guys want to get more people to leave the left, which I actually do think should be one of our greatest priorities, is getting people to leave the left. You want that to happen? Then you need to show them examples of that. The fact that Adam did that for the world in front of all of us not only showed an incredible amount of vulnerability, it also gave people a role model to follow. And that was incredibly valuable. And Lydia, who claims to be a conservative that like wants to maybe win, shitting on that just shows her utter lack of priorities. Adam's job was to be a counter for Tim, to look cute on camera. My job was to make a little show called TimcastIRL work, and I did. By all means, hear Adam out, but you're going to hear me too. Lydia, fuck right off. That show happened. I don't want to say in spite of her, but like, you're gonna tell me that Lydia is the reason that show happens? I don't think Lydia was the reason that show happened at all. You could have put a trained fucking monkey in Lydia's seat, and the show probably still would have gotten produced. And the thing of it is too, the fact this is actually so telling about how Lydia has built up her own ego in this situation. Because Lydia literally has not considered how expendable she was. Lydia could have been replaced at any time. Replaced at any time. Has anyone noticed a difference in the quality of the show since Lydia left? And again, I'm asking all you guys because I don't watch that show and I think probably a lot of you do. Has anyone in the chat noticed a difference in the quality of the show since Lydia left? And guys, while I'm waiting for that to come in, please mount that like button for me if you're enjoying this. If you want to ask questions in the chat, I will take questions. I would really like to focus in on the psychology of what Lydia is doing. Didn't Adam build the background for the original set? Yes, he did. Yes, he did. White Thunder has not noticed a difference. Josie says yes, she has noticed a difference. Better or worse, Josie? Matt says there's no difference. Jaya says it's better now. Terry says yes. How so, Terry? Better or worse? No, it's the same. Some people don't even know Lydia left. Can't answer the question since I stopped watching. Fair enough. No, yes. So some people think, some people are saying no, some people are saying yes. The fact that you guys don't notice, the fact that there's not a universal like, yes, the show is worse without Lydia, really tells you how much value was Lydia really adding. Could any single person have been in that role? In most jobs that I've ever held, in most jobs that most of you have held, you are completely expendable. You can be easily replaced. You know, I do this thing when I'm coaching people in organizations, and a lot of times when I've coached people in organizations, they're like younger professionals. We're talking like 35 years old and younger. It is not uncommon for people who are young professionals to overwork themselves to the point where they get burnout. Okay? And when someone gets burnout, basically like when someone works too hard for a long time, they're coming in early, they're staying late, they're working weekends, they're really going above and beyond. One of the things I have them do is I say, "Stop going the extra mile. Just stop. Stop coming in early. Stop leaving late. Stop going above and beyond. Just focus on the minimum responsibilities that you have for your job." And everyone hates it when I give them this advice because they're like, "How could I possibly have a job in which I don't go above and beyond?" And I say to them, "Watch what happens. Watch what happens when you stop doing all the extra work." And do you guys have any guess about what happens when people stop going above and beyond? Do their coworkers notice that they stopped going above and beyond? Does their boss notice that they stopped going above and beyond? In the vast majority of cases, no one even notices. And this is a punch in the gut for a lot of people. When they feel like they're killing themselves in a job and then all of a sudden they stop and they only do the bare minimum that's required for a little while and no one notices the difference. It's a rude awakening for a lot of people because in that moment they realize exactly how expendable they are. And it's really not, it doesn't have anything to do with them as a person. It has to do with the fact that human beings are incredibly selfish. And just because you think you're going above and beyond, and you very well may be, doesn't mean that anyone else will even be able to see the additional work that you're doing. And so it's a little bit of a relief, right? To be able to say, you know what, I can just come in and do the bare minimum. I don't have to work myself to the bone. That's the good part of that. The bad part of it is the realization that you are absolutely replaceable at any moment. Lydia thinks a lot of herself, and Lydia has not yet come to the realization that she is absolutely and eminently replaceable. There are very few people in this world that are not absolutely and eminently replaceable. Not Your Problem says, I got promoted last year, got an extra bonus last quarter, and I just got laid off. Third level manager made the decision versus my manager. What a joke. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. Not your problem. I will tell you that in every case where I have seen someone get fired, they always end up in a better position as long as they stay focused on the goal, get out there and hustle, send out those resumes, make sure you're focused on what you want, do your networking. I have always seen it work out for the best. That is the truth. Getting fired, getting laid off, getting let go can sometimes end up being one of the most empowering things that ever happens to you. So just hang in there, man. Get your resumes out. You're going to be just fine. And you're going to end up somewhere even better, possibly even getting paid more money than you were before. This is too much drama. If someone wants to watch Timcast, let them watch it. Then watch it. No one forced you to click on this link, bro. No one forced you. And you're going to get blocked because I don't want that shit on my channel. I want whining even less on my channel than I want drama. So oh God, Mike Cernovich. Oh, Mike Cernovich is like, Lydia, you are so great. Lydia, you are so beautiful. Listen, ultimately what I think of Lydia, and don't forget to be able to inspire a whole new wave of West Wing fans. I know, Brie, I know. I promise I'm gonna record it. I need to get back in the habit. This is the thing. I need to get back in the fucking habit. I promise. I promise. I promise. This week, I will get it up for you this week, Brie. But here's ultimately what I think about Lydia. Is I think that Lydia needs to possibly go get some therapy. Because Lydia needs to talk some things out. And Lydia needs a good therapist that's going to call Lydia on her bullshit. Because I think that like Lydia is in this state where she has a really distorted view of reality. Lydia's perception of herself and of the value that she gives the world has been horribly, horribly distorted given the experiences she's had in the last couple of years. I think Lydia's been in a very insular environment where she's only heard from certain types of people. I think Lydia needs to go out into the real world and actually talk to real people and be around real people. And I think that she needs to come to the realization that there is nothing special about her. And by the way, I would say there's nothing special about me too. So I'm not insulting Lydia. I'm really not. But I think for most of us, we would be able to say, like, listen, I'm not anyone special. You're not anyone special. Anyone can do what we do. But Lydia has not yet come to the realization that just because she has followers on Twitter, that doesn't make her God's gift to everything. She needs to be humbled in a really real way. And I think that most of what she said in this thread is pure projection and a pure cope for the fact that it was revealed that she fucked her boss on the internet. And that sucks, man. Listen, I've had people reveal things about my private life, some of them true, some of them photoshopped. And it's not fun. It is not fun for people to know things about your private life, whether or not they are true or whether or not they are bullshit and just meant to smear you. It's not fun. But that doesn't make me anything special. And I wasn't the one acting morally superior in the first place. Part of Lydia's problem is she put on this pretense of being morally superior, and now the facade of that has been ripped off, and she's grappling trying to get back her sense of self. And Lydia, by the way, may actually believe that she is morally superior. She may believe that. So maybe this is even a cope to say, she's trying to reestablish her own sense of identity, I guess is what I'm saying. Maybe she's trying to reestablish, like, she really thought she was morally superior, and then all of a sudden, it's known knowledge that she boinked her boss. Like, and she's trying to reestablish her status because her identity is wrapped up in the idea of being morally superior. That's my best guess, guys. But most of what Lydia wrote in this thread is bullshit. And I think everyone should know it's bullshit. And I think that everyone should learn how to read between the lines and see that what we're seeing here is someone who got their facade ripped off and is now trying to reestablish their sense of identity, putting themselves in a very public role. Maybe being a public person is not the right thing for Lydia. I don't know. But I think maybe give her a couple of years and maybe give her some humbling experiences, and she'll be all right, man. I don't think Lydia's a bad person. I really don't think Lydia is a bad person. But I do think she needs to learn, and I think she needs to grow, and I think that the people who are pretending that Lydia is God's gift to everything, they're not helping the situation at all. That's my opinion. Mount the like button if you agree with me. Mount the like button if you disagree with me. I've got a couple more super chats, and then we're going to wrap this thing up. Bree says, was Adam red pilling on camera similar to when Dave Rubin red pilled on camera in his interview with Larry Elder? It was similar, but with Adam, like that thing with Dave Rubin and Larry Elder was one episode, right? With Adam, we're talking about months and months and months of slow red pilling. It didn't happen in one episode. It happened over the course of many conversations that Tim and Adam had on camera for all of us to see. And it was so valuable because people got to see that red pilling is not a moment. Like, even with my stuff, like, people think I red pilled the time I went to the Trump rally. No, no, no. It took 6 months. It was 6 months, almost every single day, of just a little bit of progress every single day. And Adam was able to depict that on camera for all of us to see. And so that's what made his journey so much more compelling. Not your problem. Thanks for your words of encouragement. I got around 10 interviews lined up already. It's almost a full-time job, but yeah, we are all replaceable. Well, you're going to be just fine, man. Way to go, not your problem. You're going to be just fine. You got 10 interviews already, man. You got nothing to worry about. Now just chill, relax, go find your dream job. Like I've said, it always works out for better. I promise you. But it seems like you're doing all the right things. Did Lydia throw herself at Seamus? I don't remember. I don't remember. Can't confirm. I can't confirm it. I'm not saying it didn't happen. I just can't confirm it because I don't remember. Let me just look in the chat, guys, see if there are any other questions. And guys, if you want to continue the conversation, you can head over to kb.locals.com/support or join my Patreon. And let's actually just get this up here. And you can join my locals community for $5 a month or more, $50 a year or more if you want to. You can also make a one-time gift. I know I got to change the picture out. My hair is way different now. But we are going to be having a private unrecorded Zoom call starting in 15 minutes. And so if you want to come and join us on the private unrecorded Zoom call, you can head over to we'll do this one instead, kb.locals.com/support and join us for that. I will be sending out the Zoom link very, very soon. But let me just go through and see if there are any other questions that I can answer before I lose my voice. And sorry again, guys, I'm definitely coming down with a cold or something. It's that time of year. Michelle says, Carlin, I could use your advice. My husband and I are expecting our second son in early January. I don't have kids, so I don't know if I'm going to be best of advice for this, but let me know what you want advice on and I can try to help you. After my daughter and my son are older, I'm trying to decide if I want to go back to go into nursing. No, 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 no. The reason I say no to nursing is because nursing is the most toxic profession that there is. That's real. There is so much research around the amount of workplace bullying that happens in nursing. I'm not saying like you can't get around it. I think traveling nurses tend to do okay, but you're probably not going to be a traveling nurse if you have kids. So I would avoid, if you don't want to be in a toxic work environment, avoid nursing like the plague, man. Truly. It is the number one profession to be bullied in the workplace. Number one by a mile, too. Not even close. Let's see. When three people claim no wrongdoing in a situation like this, how does a person decide who is the innocent party? Well, the truth is that there's no completely innocent party. But I think Adam has accepted some responsibility. Adam has accepted more responsibility than Tim and Lydia. So there's no innocence, guys. In situations like the unholy trinity, and I'm gonna work my level best to get that to become a thing, to call the three of them the unholy trinity. But the truth is, like, every person takes part in every relationship that they're in. So, Lydia had some cause of it, Adam had some cause of it, Tim had some cause of it. I think that there's no innocence, there's only most guilty. And for my money, Tim is the most guilty in this situation because he's the boss. But I don't think Lydia's innocent. I think Adam probably has the most innocence, but he's not totally innocent either. Let's see. Boy Mac, Dr. K, what do you recommend is a healthy way to overcome the frustration of leaving a job where you felt severely wronged by management? So I wrote a book. Check it out. Hang on. Hang on, I'll show you guys. I did not just write Actively Unwoke, the ultimate guide for fighting back against woke insanity in your life. I also wrote this book. Ding, 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 ding. Zen Your Work. Create your ideal work experience through mindful self-mastery. Get that book. That's going to help you. But I mean, really the crux of it is, well, I've got a 4-star rating. Good for me. The crux of it is that you need to let go of resentment. Don't hang on to resentment. Resentment is not good for anyone. Um, you can't go back and change the past. All you can do is move forward. That's it. Focus on the future, focus on building what you want, and that'll hopefully help you heal from past mistakes. Can confirm any scrub uniform position is hella toxic. People are callous and cutthroat. Yes. Very, very, very true. Very true. Did you ever watch Ben the Tech Guy in Cast Castle? He was on it a few times. Well, it's interesting that you mentioned Ben, Aaron, because Ben, the Cast Castle guy, will be live on this channel on Thursday, guys. Ben and I are going to have a little conversation on Thursday about what it was like for him to be part of the Cast Castle, what it was like for him to work for Tim, and maybe some other stuff too. So that will be Thursday, 5 o'clock on this channel. Mount that like button if you're pleased and I'm getting you this. You're not going to get this anywhere else because I'm the only one that's been talking to Tim's ex-employees. And what I can promise you is I'm not going to be dramatic about this. I'm going to have a nuanced take on this, and we're going to listen to his experience. I am not interested in creating outrage porn. I'm also not interested in, like, you know, again, I want to say this. I don't hate Tim. I really don't. I really don't. A lot of people think I do. I really don't. But I hate the way he's treated his employees. And I spent a lot of time and a lot of energy trying to learn how to create great work experiences. And I'm very sensitive to this sort of thing. And I think it needs to be talked about. And my hope is that Tim listens, Tim learns, and that Tim improves. I want Tim to be successful in what he's doing. I don't think he's going to be successful right now in the way that he's treating the people that are there to help him. And so we're going to talk about that on Thursday. And Ben is going to be nice enough to join us, and that's going to be at 5 p.m. on Thursday. Dr. K, get out of nursing. Me, a male nurse who's been in it for 3 years, she's right, you know. Nursing is a tough profession. It's a noble profession. It's a noble profession, but it's very, very hard. Yeah, Ben is a very chill dude. He is a very nice guy. I've been talking to him for a couple weeks now. All right, guys, that is all I have. Again, we will be convening for my community call, locals and Patreon supporters, in about 10 minutes. You still have time to join. I will be sending out the link on both locals and Patreon. We're going to convene for a call. Monday calls are like 5 hours long. We call them Marathon Monday for a reason. They're like 5 hours long. They are private. They are unrecorded. Sometimes I spill a little bit more tea than I do on YouTube. But guys, I will be back tomorrow, and we're doing something completely different tomorrow. We are doing school investigation, Fairfax County, Virginia, a live investigation. I'm going to show you how to pick apart publicly available information to find out exactly what the schools are teaching. This is going to be day 2 of this investigation. You can go back and watch day 1 if you want. It's on the channel right now. Go to the live section and you can watch. There it is. Schools Exposed, Investigating Fairfax County, Virginia. I streamed it last week. And you can come and join us for part 2. And it's going to be exciting. Oh, hey, Lisa. Ben was such a good employee. It was a joy to work with him. He did a lot of work for Tim. Lisa, I hope you come back on Thursday and feel free to ask a question in the chat or get in touch with me privately and let me know what questions you want me to ask. And we can work that out. But I hope you're doing well. And you know how to get in touch with me if you want to, Lisa. I'd be happy to talk to you. See, and these are nice Tim Pool fans right here. These are nice Tim Pool fans. They get blocked. Ah, shoot. Hang on. Anyway, guys, I will be back tomorrow at 5 p.m. And remember, the 5 p.m. stream is not the only stream tomorrow. We also have Nothing Remotely Controversial at 9 p.m., in which we will be talking about this, along with many other news-related topics. That's all I have for right now, guys. Mount that like button on your way out the door. Please subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you soon. Bye.